Morning, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Westies Angling. You're joining me at Stoat Hall fishery today on the Specimen Lake. Like a numpty, I have forgot to put an SD card in my GoPro, so I'm going to be filming all this on the big camera. So if it's a little bit shaky, it's because it's really heavy and I'm trying to hold it up with my left hand like a selfie. But yeah, here we are, Stoat Hall fishery. I'm going to be fishing it a little bit different than I normally would. So I'm going to be using the method feeders, just like I would in any normal coarse fishery, but I've just scaled up my tackles slightly. I've put 12-pound mainline on my Specimen rods, and I'm going to be using a 10-pound hook length. Still using feeder hooks. I've not gone for full carp hooks. The fish in here go to around 20 pounds, so nothing absolutely stonking, like 20 pound plus. They have added quite a few extra fish to this lake, even though it is small. I'm going to have to swap hands because my hand's shaking. They have added quite a few extra fish into this pond last year. It's only small, as you can see from the video. It's not massive. But there's some really nice fish in here, some nice ghosties. They've got a couple of sturgeon, so some really nice fish to target. The baits that I'm going to be using today, I'm going to be fishing really simply. I've got two things to try. I'm going to try bread on the method feeders. So I'm literally just using my normal banjo feeders. As I do in my normal videos, I'm not scaling up or anything. I watched a very interesting video on how actually scaling up the method feeder can put the fish off. So we're going to test that theory. I'm going to keep it small, keep everything light. I'm going to drop the method feeder in really stealthy with my bait boat. I've just checked the rules. Bait boats, it doesn't say anything on the rules about bait boats, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to take it straight out. I'm going to drop it probably about 4 foot off that island, and then my other one I might fish over to the aerator or in a deeper water. I've not decided yet. It's only me and my dad on at the moment. I'm not surprised. The weather's miserable. I'm going to do my best to film on this camera for you today. I'm going to have to prop it up on something, and if we get a fish I'll have to shout my dad over and he's going to have to do a bit of filming. I'm going to get some ground bait and pellets mixed up. Normal method feeder type stuff. So I've got some high impact ground bait there, some mainline stuff, a really sweet ground bait, and just some normal 2 mils. Nothing special. My 8mm Bandon wafters, and then with the bread, so I'm going to have one on that, I'm going to have one red out on that, and then with the bread I'm actually going to try one of these white DNA bug wafters, which I'm going to attach with a braid screw, and I'm just going to use a size 8 feeder hook. I'll show you the rigs, and if you're not sure how to tie up a method feeder rig, I'll put a link in the top right hand corner of one of my videos showing you how to do that. But yeah, that's my little setup. Got everything ready, big specimen net out, nice big unhooking mat, and like I say, I'm just going to have to have this open today and balance it on, because like an absolute numpty, he's forgotten the bloody SD card out of his GoPro. So we'll have to make do. Luckily I brought my big camera. I wasn't actually going to, but I thought if we need to take some pictures and stuff like that, it might be worth having. So luckily I did bring it. But it's very limited memory space, and also the batteries, I've only got one with it. So you're just going to be getting clips. Hopefully it's going to be a full video, but I'll do my best. Just using my 1 1/4 test curve Specimen rods, 12 foot, heavy duty enough for normal method feeder fishing and stuff like that. I'm going to be fishing with quite a tight bait runner, just because it'll help with the self-hooking aspect. The rigs I've already tied up. There we go. Good thing about the big camera is we can get close-up shots. So very, very simple. That's my size 8 feeder hook. And then I've just got a bait screw to attach the bigger wafters. And then obviously my smaller wafters, I've just got some normal banded feeder hooks tied. Nice and easy. Nothing outrageous. They'll be strong enough to get anything in that's in here if I play it right. It's still early on in the year, so the fish aren't going to have as much fighting power as they would in summer, and we're going to be a little bit more incognito, I think, fishing like this rather than going full carp rigs. I think the fish can see it a mile off, and they'll be really wary in this Specimen lake. So like I say, I'm going to stealthily put the rigs out with a bait boat, and we'll see how we get on. So I'm just going to use some of this mainline high impact ground bait. I'm not going to mix loads up because we're not going to be casting a lot today. Probably going to go with a 50-50 mix of pellets and that ground bait. If I can get in this bag of pellets. Oh, I wish them bags.
Oh yeah, then thin us out.
That's about a 50-50 mix. Well, I took some water. Put some more ground bait because a lot of that's dissolved. I think it's because of all the attractants in it. There must be a lot of attractants in there. Right. I'll leave that sitting to one side. And then on my other rod, I've just whizzed up some bread in the blender. So this is a very fine crumb. Which will go perfectly on the method feeder. So that's on one rod, that's on the other. One with a white wafter and one with a pink wafter. Right, okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of cheating. Well, my dad thinks I'm cheating anyway. But I'm going to use the bait boat and I'm just going to stealthily take it out and drop it. Obviously I can easily cast to that spot, but I want it to be stealthy. That's my main aim. So I've just tested the hook bait in the margin and it sinks perfectly. So that's just one of them white wafters. And I'm going to go with a little bit of bread on the method feeder. I'm not putting much out at all. In fact, what I might do, Dad, is I might squeeze it on. I think this waft is a little bit too big to get in the mould. But I didn't want to scale up. I didn't want to scale up the method feeder. I just want this to be as incognito as possible.
Yeah, with a bigger root bait.
Yeah. So I'm going to put the method feeder out. I'm also going to put a handful of bread out as well, and hopefully it sinks. Put my line on the left hand side there. Check this out, stealthy. So I saw a carp jump just to the right of that island over there about half an hour ago. Probably. What do you think, Dad? It was back there, weren't it?
Yeah.
So rigs out, baits out. I'm just going to set that on the rest. Really easy. This rod tip needs to go further down. Don't think I can. So that won't be so bad there. Put my swing arm on. I actually want to tighten my bait run and drag up a little bit as well. That'll be great, that. Bring my boat back in. Looks like it's got some hemp seed in as well, this ground bait mix. Check I'm not round my tip. Well, if I've got a bait boat, I might as well get the use out of it.
Well, yeah. And you said a lot of places don't allow them, but to be quite honest, I don't see why not.
It depends. People can go across people's swims and stuff like that.
I suppose so. It's like anything. If it's used sensibly, it's not an issue, is it?
I don't want to be too close to that aerator. Not too bothered about the placement. As long as I'm in the margins today, I think that's where they'll be. Tighten my bait when I drag slightly. Sorted, fishing. Oh, let's get my bait boat back in. I think it's slightly better than crashing a method feeder in at this time of year. But sun's just coming up now, folks. Can't get better than this, can you? The rods are out, waiting for a fish. Might be a bit of a faff trying to get the fight on the camera for you. Depends whether my dad can get over and get filming. But if we do get a fish, you'll see it in the net. I'm hoping this little technique that I'm going to be using today is going to work. There's no reason why method feeder fishing shouldn't work on a specimen lake. You just need to up your tackle for the type of fish that you're targeting. We all know how effective method feeder fishing is. And I think they'll have seen so many carp rigs here that maybe just something a little bit different like this will give me the edge. It's coming up to 8 AM, the sun's up now. I've brought my stove with me, so I'm going to get a coffee on, get the kettle on. I'll probably recast maybe every hour or so today. I'm still going to post the video even if we don't catch, because that'll tell you one way or another whether this is actually a good technique. Seems like it's a nice day today. It's give rain on the weather forecast, but so far, fairly blue skies. Which is strange considering the week that we've just had. Whether the week of heavy rain will have put the fish down, I'm not sure. But you've got to be in it to win it. You can fish this on a 24-hour ticket as well at Stoat Hall. You don't have to do a day session here. But I've got limited time, so we're probably going to be here probably till about 3 o'clock-ish. Not much later than that. I need to get home, get some jobs done. My dad's fishing this other peg. So he's in the margin peg here. This is all shallow water on this side. I've mapped it out with a deeper before now. Where are your rigs, Dad? So he's got one down there next to the reeds, which I think if he gets a fish, it's going to be there today.
In that sort of little there, he's got left behind.
So what? Yeah, I can see what you mean. Where the two reeds separate?
Yeah, just in that sort of cut out there. That's where a decent fish has swirled as well this morning.
We've seen a lot of activity around the island today, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's only a small lake, isn't it? If you can't catch it here, it's like fishing in a puddle. Well, we know that he put at least 14 fish in at last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
All double figure fish. So it's well stocked.
It's a little lake, isn't it?
It's sat over there sticking out of the water. I'm not seeing any signs of the sturgeon. Usually you can see them up in the water, cruising. I think another few weeks and the lily pads will be coming up, won't they? There's grass carp in here as well, folks. Yeah, grass carp, some nice koi. Really nice specimen lake. And you don't know what he's put in that we don't know about. Do you know what I mean? So nice koi, nice ghosties, grass carp, and a good head of mirrors and commons, and a couple of sturgeon. If you don't know, sturgeon are one of my favourite fish. I'd very much like to go and target the sturgeon at Mere Lane at some point this year. Don't even know if I'm in focus right now, because that's topping £40 now. What a fish. So Mere Lane's in Southport, we have fished it before. But a £40 sturgeon. So we might have to go and try for that at some point this year. I'd love to catch that on the channel for you guys. I can't do too much vlogging today because I've only got one battery and that's already down a bar. So I need to save some battery in case we get a fish. Obviously I've always got my phone camera, so got a bit of a backup there. I hope. Just trying to prop the camera up, make myself a brew. See if I can do it with one hand. Forgot my spoon, obviously, like everything else I've forgot today. Get a nice strong coffee going here, I think. Had a couple of bleeps on the... Here we go, we're in. Weird. Dad? That on the bell? Yeah, do you want to put the camera up? It's rolling. Oh my god! Oh, he's come to a specimen lake. It's not exactly a specimen, but it's an odd looking fish. I think this net is a little bit overkill. Is it in focus? I think I can. Can't believe that. Just put the kettle on. How long has my rod's been in now? About
10 minutes. Yeah, just
what a bonny fish.
Oh my god.
It's a fancy goldfish, isn't it? Like a proper fancy goldfish. Ooh. Bit of an odd looking, deformed, that is the most disgusting fish I've ever seen in my life. Zoom in on that, Dad. What is that? Ugh. Ugh. Proper creature from the deep. Oh, it's snozzles hanging out and everything. I'm not even sure I want to be... I'm not even sure I want a picture with it. I don't think I do. Welcome to Stoat Hall Specimen Lake. Oh, for God's sake.
That's one manky fish.
It is. Look at that manky thing. It is hanging. It's got a big growth thing coming out of its nose. Right, I'm going to get it back. I feel like I should put it out of this bloody misery more than anything. Right, kettles are spoiled, folks. Oh, ah. Do you want a brew, Dad? Well,
no, I'm alright, thanks, love.
Try not to set the pencil out on fire. Right, let's get this rig back out. If I get another fish on the bread, I think I'll swap them both over. I've not mixed much up though.
How often are you going to cast out?
Not often. I've said every hour or so.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to be casting out any more often than that. I've just put some extra feed out, seeing as I've got that fish. I Put some extra feed in the bait boat. When you're sending the rig out in the bait boat, you've got to make sure that your line's on the door end. Otherwise it can get all snagged up. Right, isn't it?
Yeah, right into the sun, yeah.
If you're wondering what kind of boat this is, it's a boatman bait boat. About 260 quid in the UK. And I tell you what, it's been spot on. Not sponsored in any way, shape or form, but proper good bait boat for the price. Well impressed with it. I think my dad's going to send some stuff out in it now. Put some feed in. The black pearl. She sails again. The black pearl's got a new captain. Very shallow there, you know, Dad. Is that where your rig is?
How do you have to drop it?
Double tap. That's the left one. The left one does the back. That's right. That's left. There you go.
Has that dropped?
Yeah. Can't see anything in that sun. He lays his hands on his hips. And his Westies Angling lucky cap. I'll tell you what, folks, I'm sweltering. I'm going to have to take my bib and brace off in a minute, I think. Got my coffee. How about that? Save the blank. Not exactly what I had in mind when you come to a specimen lake, but that's a big old fancy goldfish, that. And that's on the DNA baits. So it just shows you that small fish can take big baits. I mean, that weren't exactly a tiny fish, but still a 15mm wafter. Right, fingers crossed we get something better now. It's a good sign. At least it shows that they're on the feed. Obviously, the good thing about me fishing this way on the method feeders is I could just swap out the hook length. So I could, if I wanted to try corn, I could go to a banded rig. If I wanted to put a bigger pop-up on, I could just put a bigger hook and hook length on. So it's really versatile. My dad's literally just plopping his method feeder down the margin over there. I think my bet is that he's going to have a decent fish down there today. If I had to choose pegs, I would have chosen that peg. But I didn't want to say it this morning because he would have let me have the best peg. So I didn't say anything and he's gone in it, thank God. So hopefully he gets something decent down there. I saw a bloke catch a really good carp down that margin on the method feeder last year when I fished it for the sturgeon. If you haven't seen the sturgeon video, I'll put a link in the top right hand corner for you. Worth a watch if you're bored. And if you want to be bored even further. I might move this right hand rod. I'm not confident on where it is, to be honest. I might even put a bigger wafter on it as well if we don't get anything on the 8mm. So you're changing me bloody tactics already, aren't I? It's not good. Absolutely shattered this morning. I had quite a late night last night, sorting all my tackle out and stuff like that, so I'm half asleep. It was an early start, 5:30, driving from Manchester to meet my dad here. This place opens just before 7. So, this was on the island rod again. You just heard it go off, hopefully on the camera. I don't know whether I was filming or not. Feels like a better fish. Which is plenty. I don't think it's massive actually. What do you think, Dad?
Can't see for some.
Obviously I don't want to go mental with them because... Oh yeah, not a bad fish. I don't want to go mental with them because I'm not fishing mega heavy. There we are, it's coming in. No, it's not. Just trying to keep the tension on it. This is on the white DNA baits again. Oh god, it's like a trolling net this. I could have scooped them all in, I think. Right, let's try and lift it out in this. Oh aye. Oh, that's a lovely fish that actually. Really nice one. Fat belly on it. Do you think it'd go a double that, Dad?
It could be close. 8 to 9 at least, isn't it?
Yeah. Very fat fish. Lovely fish. So, yeah, really good belly on it. I reckon that'd go. It's probably not quite a double. It's
In the 8 to 9 pound bracket, that belly on it.
This is probably its better side. It's got a nice scale pattern. Look at that, lovely carp. Right, let's get it back and get another one, I think. That method feeder's worked perfectly, so the inserts come out of it. We'll have to tighten that back in because that's come out as well, but worked perfectly there. And that's on the 15mm DNA baits, so working well. Let's get this fish back because it's quite warm out here. If I can gather up all this net. That is a lovely mirror carp.
Have you not brought your smaller net?
No, I haven't brought my smaller net. So that's 2 on the bread and the white wafter. Well folks, second fish. So because that technique's obviously working the better out of the 2, I'm going to swap the right hand rod over to that. I'm going to try it a little bit closer to that aerator down this side. If that doesn't work, I might try down the left hand margins here. It's very, very shallow going out till about probably 4 or 5 foot, and then there's a bit of a drop off. So I need to obviously place it right, but I can literally just drop it in down there. I don't have to use the bait boat. But yeah, I think that's the tactics. I've tied up 2 of these rigs, luckily. So I'm going to put the other one on the other rod. I don't know whether to try something different and use one of the pink ones of the DNA bug, or whether to stick with the white. Because I think the white seems to be working. Maybe it's something just a little bit different that they haven't seen. So that combined with the bread, it might just trick them. Very, very difficult to film with the big camera. The autofocus isn't great on it, so if you see that it's focusing in and out constantly, that's why. With the white wafter and the bread doing so well, I think I might swap them both over to this. I'm hoping the shots that we've got are good. My dad's not the best videographer in the world, but you get the idea. I'm so gutted that I haven't brought my GoPro today, but it is what it is. Hopefully we're getting some good footage. So I might swap them both over to this white wafter. I'm only putting probably that much bread out at a time. Right hand rod's reset, put the other rig on it. Got it a bit closer to that aerator. So I'm feeling a little bit more confident about that one now. It's odd that it's only the left hand one getting the bites. So it'll be interesting to see that now if we've swapped it over to that, is it the wafter or is it the placement? That's what I'd like to know. Dad's not had any indications yet, so a couple of fish, I'm happy with that. Look, if I don't catch anything for the rest of the day, I'm happy, do you know what I mean? At least I've saved the blank. It's a specimen lake. I'm not going to absolutely bag up, but let's see if we get any more. Tell you what folks, it's absolutely dead at Stoat Hall today. It's usually quite a busy fishery. There's nobody fishing on the coarse lakes by the looks of it. I mean, it has give bad weather, but still. A bit of an update. We've not had anything since them first two fish. So what I've decided to do, just so I can get a couple more fish for you, I've decided to cheat. So I've got the deeper out of the car, I've put it on the bait boat, and I've just had a scan of the lake. Now, it was my theory that potentially near the island where I had those two fish, I got it on the right spot straight away. And I've had a scan around the island and it's an absolute minefield. So there's some deeper parts, there's some shallower parts, there's quite a lot of ground there which is very, very hard, which I think is what I landed the bait on the first couple of times. The rest of it is very silty and very weedy. So I've made sure that I've got it on the hard part, and a couple of fish were showing up on the deeper around that part. Now, what I've also done is scanned some of the rest of the lake, and it's absolutely mental. So there's absolutely no fish between this side and the island, round there. Not much in my dad's swim, apart from probably about 12 foot off this island here, which is amazing. They're all holed up in certain spots. Nothing round the other side, absolutely zilch towards the reeds that my dad was fishing to. So he's moved both his rods now. I want him to get a fish as well. This is the second time he's been here and not caught anything, so I'd like him to get a couple of fish. And there seems to be fish held up. It's very, very deep, and then it starts to drop off, and then it's hard on top of the drop off, and there's fish holding the drop off line. So that is actually an aerator. So let's take you around this side. So this is an aerator, and then probably around here, around this line, all the fish are hugging that, especially in line with this tree here. So I've dropped my other rig there. Again, I've kept with the white DNA baits bug wafter on both. But yeah, so that's the couple of changes that we've made. Had a bit of a scan around, found the fish, and hopefully, after a little bit of cheating, we might get another fish each. We're definitely on them now, 100%. So I'm happy to leave my rigs in now a little bit longer. I'll probably leave these in about an hour and a half-ish, and then maybe recast and put some more bait out. So let's see if that makes a difference. It'd be very interesting to see if it does. It's putting a little bit of rain down now. Very fine rain. I'm just watching the water. Just seeing if I can see any signs of movement. Not had anything since them first two fish. Feed has been in probably 40 minutes now. Thought I was going to have a red letter day. My dad's not had anything. He's not even had any indications, no bleeps, no liners. I'm going to give it another probably 20-25 minutes, and then I'll recast that island rod. Leave that aerator rod in, and then I'll move that somewhere else, and I'll keep moving that right hand rod about, just so I can try and find out where they're holed up. I want to try probably down this margin in the deep water. There's a really deep pool in the middle, it goes very deep there, and I don't know, probably only two places that I really want to test out. I've tried down that margin, there was nothing there. Got it near the aerator now. Probably next cast I'll try the deeper water, and then I'll try down this margin a little bit later on in the day, I think. My dad's got a rig out to the far reeds. Obviously there's nobody else on this Specimen lake today. So we have pretty much run of the swims. There's nobody going to be turning up for it now. It's 15 quid-ish for a day ticket, I think, here. Not sure my dad's paid. Me and my dad have a deal where I drive from Manchester, so I pay the fuel and he pays for the day tickets. So just while I'm waiting for a fish, I've been playing about with an idea for a rig that I'm going to try today. So I've got quite a big feeder hook there, and this is actually a banded hair rig. So I've put the band into some bait foam, some pop-up bait foam, and that'll just sit off the method feeder, obviously 4-inch because it's a 4-inch method feeder rig. That'll just sit up in the water, and I'm going to put worms on. So I'm going to put worms on that, tie quite a big bunch of worms on. Now I'm not sure if this will work any good here, and I've avoided using these worms that I've got with me today because there's quite a lot of small fish in here as well. And what can happen is obviously the small fish will come in and they'll pick at the worms and it'll stop the bigger fish getting to them. But it's gone really quiet. It's turned into a bit of a struggle. So maybe a natural baits like this will just do it for us. But that'll be popped up off the banjo feeder about 4-inch. So I'm going to have obviously the bait on the banjo feeder. They'll be coming in. They'll get the scent from all the attractants and the stimulation from the ground bait, and hopefully see that big bunch of worms and engulf it. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to actually give that a try. A bit of a gamble, but I'll show you what it looks like with worms on. So there we go. That's the rig with the worms on it. Already trying to escape, but they'll just be popped up in the water. Okay folks, so I think we're going to call it a day there. I hope you've enjoyed this short video on method feeder fishing for specimen fish. Been semi-successful. I had a couple of fish out this morning, so at least we've not blanked. It shows you that the approach works, and I'm sure if the fish were feeding we would have had it away today, but it's just one of them things. Maybe they feed in the morning and then they'll switch off through the day and then come back on the feed early evening going into night. Who knows? It's different at every fishery. You've got to know the fishery and you've got to know where the carp are held up. We've obviously found out where the carp are. We've been dropping feed on the heads, so it's not like we've not been on the fish. They're just not actively feeding. Maybe zig rigs or something like that would have worked better today. I am going to do a couple of videos on zig rigs. I'm not fully confident in them. I personally never caught a fish on a zig, but I know they do work for a lot of people and they can be a killer approach. I just want to say as well, if you have any questions about anything that we've done today, please don't hesitate to drop a comment down below. I always try and get back to everybody in the comments where I can. So once again, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Westies Angling.